What if the voice that stopped you in your tracks on a noisy city street belonged to someone who once believed he didn't have what it takes? That's Luke Silva, an unassuming artist whose voice now drifts through phone speakers and hearts across the world. With a guitar slung over his shoulder and a sound that feels like coming home, Luke didn't rise by accident. He built every note with intention, forged in grit and soul. His story isn't just inspiring, it's proof that quiet persistence can echo louder than overnight fame. If you're into underdog stories, raw talent, and real emotion, go ahead, tap that like button and subscribe. You're about to witness something special. Luke's first audience wasn't a crowd, it was his family. Growing up in a home where music was as essential as food on the table, Luke absorbed rhythm and melody before he could fully understand their power. His Italian father would often fill the house with the sweeping drama of classic ballads, songs soaked in emotion and history. On the other side, his Brazilian mother brought warmth and soul into their world through the soft sway of bossa nova. It was a daily dance of feeling, passionate one moment, tender the next. Music wasn't background noise, it was heritage. It was home. This wasn't passive exposure, it was immersion. These two sonic worlds, one mellow and rhythmic, the other bold and theatrical, melded inside Luke, shaping his musical DNA. Even as a child, he wasn't content to simply listen. He wanted to feel what the music was trying to say. That sensitivity to emotion became his compass. Looking back, it's no surprise that his voice now carries such weight, because from the very beginning, he was learning that music wasn't about perfection. It was about presence. And perhaps most importantly, it was about truth. But having music in your blood doesn't mean your path is paved. Luke's beginnings were raw. He joined his first band as a teenager, full of enthusiasm but painfully short on polish. He's spoken openly, almost with amusement, about how off-key he was back then, and how hard it was to find his place in a group of more seasoned players. But where others might have bowed out, Luke showed up again and again and again. His growth didn't come from natural talent. It came from relentless repetition, from staying up late to sing until his voice cracked, from practicing until his fingers ached. Every mistake became a mentor, every awkward performance a necessary rung on the ladder. It was never about proving himself to the world. It was about becoming someone he could believe in. Over time, the rough edges softened, his pitch tightened, his tone deepened. He began to understand how to tell a story with silence as much as with sound. These weren't overnight changes. They were gradual, sometimes agonizing, but always forward-moving. The transformation was quiet, but it was powerful. Luke Silva wasn't just getting better, he was learning to move. Then came the leap, the kind that defines a dreamer. In 2017, Luke left his comfort zone and flew to London. There were no record deals waiting, no red carpets, just a belief that this city, with its wild heartbeat and musical pulse, could shape him in ways he couldn't yet imagine. London was a sensory overload. The sounds of streetcars and chatter, of jazz from a pub around the corner, of buskers battling the breeze. It was loud, and Luke didn't blend in. He carved his place. He enrolled at the Institute of Contemporary Music Performance, immersing himself in theory, technique, songwriting, and the art of performing not just for applause, but for connection. It wasn't easy. The program pushed him. The city tested him. Late nights became normal. Rejection came often, but so did resilience. With every open mic night and late night jam session, Luke was building more than skill. He was building endurance. And between coffee-fueled study sessions, cramped rehearsal rooms, and unforgettable moments on dimly lit stages, something inside him clicked. His voice matured, his perspective widened, his confidence, once fragile, solidified. And perhaps most importantly, he found community, fellow artists who challenged and supported him, people who saw what he was becoming, even when he doubted it himself. One of the most defining parts of this chapter was Camden Market, London's vibrant, ever-changing canvas. Luke found a new kind of stage here, a cobblestone street, a guitar case open for coins, a microphone barely louder than the crowd. But what happened there was real. With no production, no spotlight, and no safety net, he sang, and people stopped. Teenagers, tourists, office workers, and wanderers, all drawn in by something unmistakable. His music wasn't just good, it mattered. It felt spontaneous yet intimate, like he was singing just for you, even in a crowd. These moments, unscripted and raw, were where Luke proved himself not to an industry, but to the public. Some performances went unnoticed. Others sparked instant reactions, applause, smiles, a sea of phones filming him mid-song. He didn't know it then, but he was laying the foundation for the viral success to come. Camden didn't make him famous, it made him ready. Then came the digital spark, TikTok. At first, he posted with no expectations, just covers, just him and his guitar. But something about the way he performed, his openness, his emotional clarity, his ability to draw you in without saying a word, connected. And then he added a twist that changed everything. Spontaneous duets with strangers. No rehearsal, no polish, just pure, authentic human connection. One girl sings harmony, a tourist belts the chorus, A shy onlooker finds courage mid-verse. These clips weren't staged. They were real, and the internet responded with open arms. Within months, Luke was no longer just a voice in Camden. He was a global name. 5 million followers, 22 million likes, viral duets, reaction videos, fan covers. Suddenly, he was in living rooms across the world. But what made it all remarkable was this: he never stopped being Luke. The same sincerity he brought to a quiet London street carried through every clip, every live stream, every comment reply. He didn't let the algorithm define him. He used it to spread the very thing that set him apart, heart. And with fame came evolution. People began to ask, who is Luke, really? What's his story? What's his voice? And so, he began writing. Influenced by the poetic soul of Caetano Veloso and the lyrical storytelling of John Mayer, Luke stepped into his next chapter, original music. In 2024, he released Belong to the City, a reflective track that wrestled with themes of identity, isolation, and belonging in a world that moves too fast. It was raw, layered, and unmistakably personal, and fans connected deeply. But then came Silence, a song born not from a moment of triumph, but from heartbreak. After sharing news of a personal breakup, something he rarely discusses, Luke channeled his emotion into a track that felt like a confession whispered through melody. The pain was real, the vulnerability undeniable, and fans listened not just with their ears, but with their hearts. TikTok snippets of the track brought comfort to thousands. Comments flooded in. This is exactly how I feel. I didn't know how to say it until I heard this. And just when it seemed like nothing could surprise his audience anymore, something did. Reports surfaced online about the death of an artist named Luke Silva. Within hours, his followers were in mourning, confused, heartbroken, fearing they'd lost the voice that had become a comfort in chaotic times. But the reports were mistaken. The man who had passed was a different Luke Silva, a painter and visual artist. Relief flooded social media, and with it, a wave of gratitude. Fans began reposting his work, expressing what they hadn't yet said. Your music matters. Don't stop. And Luke isn't stopping. In fact, he's just getting started. Plans are already in motion for a behind-the-scenes vlog series, giving fans an intimate look at life beyond the busking clips, songwriting sessions, road trips, backstage moments, the highs and lows of a creative life. He's also designing a fashion line, limited edition pieces inspired by his multicultural roots and unmistakable street style. And musically, things are only heating up. A stripped-back acoustic album is rumored to be on the horizon, featuring live favorites that fans have begged for, and the momentum just keeps building. Luke teamed up with Ace Kleverk to officially release their viral duet of Lovely, which racked up over 35 million views online. The polished version, now available on all major streaming platforms, shows Luke's evolution from a street artist to a refined recording artist, without losing the heart that drew fans in to begin with. He's also been teasing new originals on TikTok, including a deeply personal track called Meet Again, which he's described as his favorite so far. And in classic Luke fashion, he's embracing international talent too, recently spotlighting an Indian singer who reimagined My Heart Will Go On in a style that left fans stunned. Even mainstream media is taking notice. Luke recently appeared on BBC Breakfast, sharing how busking shaped not just his career, but his entire approach to music. From the cobblestones of Camden to millions of screens across the world, it's clear. Luke Silva isn't just making music, he's building moments that matter. He's also eyeing a world tour, with stops planned across Europe and South America, aiming to bring the magic of his Camden beginnings to a global stage. Whether it's a rooftop in Lisbon, a plaza in Buenos Aires, or a sold-out theater in Milan, one thing's for sure, Luke Silva will show up with the same heart he's carried since day one. Because Luke Silva isn't in this for fleeting fame. He's here to connect, to tell the truth through music, and to keep reminding us. Sometimes, the softest voices carry the loudest echoes. So whether you first heard him on a street corner in Camden or stumbled across one of his soul-stirring duets online, one thing is clear. Luke Silva's music isn't just heard, it's felt. He's not chasing trends or headlines. He's telling real stories, building real moments, and inviting us all to feel something deeper. And if his journey so far is any indication, the best is still ahead. If you've been moved by his story, or maybe even found a little bit of your own in it, don't forget to give this video a like, drop a comment to share your favorite Luke moment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one. Because voices like his deserve to be heard and shared.